Good week.
Yeah, I thought today was cleaner than probably yesterday in some ways. Anytime you do third down day for the first time, really, there's just more intricacies, a little bit more detail, a little bit more that has to go into it. So we just had some things to clean up from yesterday, but I thought the energy, the execution, the focus level was where you want it to be on a Friday.
Did you watch any of the Thursday night game, last night's game with Dallas and Philly?
Just a little bit.
There was some weird stuff that happened. Do you take like teachable moments, like there was a guy got ejected for spitting,
Yeah.
there was a taunting penalty when the taunt wasn't even like in the eyesight of the player, and then obviously there was the weather delay.
Yeah.
As a head coach, do you kind of talk to your guys about stuff? This is a reminder.
Yeah,
of,
it was shown in our team meeting,
Okay.
today. So we do our situational masters meeting every Friday, where Coach Shane Waldron gets up and does a presentation of around the league, everything that kind of occurs, whether it was last night or in the previous weeks, and things that happened last year that we can it's an educational meeting. It's fun, get some juice going, but it's an opportunity, whether it's college, pro, high school, if it's anything, we're showing it that could come up to potentially educate our guys.
Does that add a little bit more headache for you though too? It's like, oh, one more thing to worry about?
Nah, I don't have anything to do with it. So
Okay.
it's great. I'm able to, we'll do our game management meeting tomorrow morning with John and Shane, and a lot of the things that we end up coming into that meeting talking about, Shane's, presenting to the team. So he makes the cut up, he makes the presentation, he runs the show for that deal. So it's great. The players all get a kick out of it, and also it's a great educational moment as well.
This was my first week getting back in the locker room. It looks a lot different just with all of the designs and messages on the. Why was that important to do? for you?
Yeah, anytime you come in and you want to get a message or messages to the players, and having reminders of it throughout the building is important. Because when you hear the players start to speak the language that we're talking, is typically when they're listening, and they're taking it personal. They're putting it into their vocabulary, and so ultimately we're not trying to create robots. It's more so just trying to get these guys to for all of us to be on the same page, and to speak the same language when it comes to our goals, our communication, the way that we want to operate on a daily basis. So that was important. I thought it came out great, and the guys have all been pretty positive about it as well.
If you win the toss, are you a guy that likes to defer, or do you like the ball?
Oh
first?
man, I haven't decided yet. I was always in the defer world for a long time, and then this past year in Tampa, we kind of got to become a team that took the ball, with having success on the first drive, and kind of what it did for our team, and like the win-loss percentage was something ridiculous when we scored first as an offense in Tampa last year. So each team's different, each year's different. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow at that game management meeting.
How important is that first drive, just to kind of set the tone for the day for the offense?
It is important. I mean, to get on, to start fast is always important. I used to always really worry about the first play. And then Matthew Stafford told me nobody remembers the first play. Just get the ball snapped, run anything, and get the game started. So, there's a fine line of trying to, you want to start with success though, and that's really what it comes down to, is get the guys into a groove early, get people touches, get the quarterback in a rhythm, let the O-line settle in. So it is important to have success, but like we've been preaching this entire time, and specifically this week, is it's not just about that. It's going to be more about our response and how we respond to, if we don't go down the field and score on the first drive, what does that look like for our defense going on the grass and having to get a stop, and then the offense having to go back out there and regroup and get something going. So that's, to me, what's going to be the difference for us in this game is, I'd love to start fast. New Orleans felt good when we started fast on both sides of the ball, but you got to sustain it, and we also have to respond when good things don't happen.
What's an element of Carolina that maybe doesn't get a lot of attention, but you feel like they're very good at?
I think that they're runners. The combination of those two runners, I think, is going to be, last year they didn't really have that second guy always, and he had to do, Chuba had to do so much of the load, and now they've got Rico in the mix. that's something that, there's going to be new for me to see as a coach coaching against them, and I think could only be something that they're happy about and an advantage that way for them in terms of having two backs that you feel like can both run physically and impact the game. And then I think that the tight ends are two players that are a little bit maybe underappreciated and I think can have some good years as well. And so I think that we don't know, right, the impact, obviously, Derek Brown coming back and Trayvon Morig. So they've got some guys that you definitely need to pay attention to, understand where they are on the field, because they can impact the game.
Yeah, they've got that tight end Sanders that's like in his second year. What stands out about his skill set?
Remember him coming out more of an F tight end that can run routes. He can be a mismatch. I know he's lost some weight and feels like he's moving around a little bit better than he was maybe last year, and is healthy. So he's definitely somebody that anytime you have that type of guy in the NFL, it's usually a good mismatch at times where you can maybe get him on a linebacker or safety if you feel like he can make some of those matchups work in your favor. And then the quarterback. I mean, we all know the quarterback, we have to contain Bryce. I've always had a lot of appreciation for what he can do when he extends plays and gets the ball out on time and in rhythm. So, big challenge for us.
Because he's missed some practice time recently, did that make you alter how much you plan to use Travis at all? Or
Who's
no?
missed something? I'm sorry,
Travis
because of
Hunter.
Travis?
Yeah.
No, it was more just getting up to speed and look, we're gonna have to figure it out. We're gonna have to all be flexible, right? You go in with, we'll come up with that plan over the next 24 hours in terms of like, all right, what are the exact maybe numbers we want to hit on both sides or usage? But yeah, he did miss some time, and so that's something that we just need to make sure we're aware of and keeping engaged as coaches to make sure that if he's getting a little lost or doesn't know what he's doing on a few things, well, man, maybe we need to reel it back a little and get him a rest here maybe for a second, whatever it is. We've got to be flexible, but I thought he's done a really nice job of dedicating himself to the plan on both sides of the ball over the last few days, and he was flying around pretty good today.
I'm sure that coming up with that plan and figuring all that out was not like in your head. Obviously, you didn't know you were going to have to do that. In addition to everything else that you had to deal with as a first-time head coach and the offense and stuff, has it been more challenging than you thought?
No, honestly, I think the staff has done a really nice job of taking on some of the load in ways, and Jay Kaiser, my assistant, has done a phenomenal job with the coordinators of maybe getting some thoughts together first, and then coming to me with some ideas, and then letting me kind of say, okay, I'd like to be able to do this, this, and this. And so they've done a great job of kind of keeping that off my plate in terms of, obviously, I'm making the final decision, but some ideas of maybe how we want to use this time and some creative, different ideas that allows me to continue to do my job at a high level, hopefully. And but it's been fun, honestly. It really has been. It's been fun. It's going to be cool to see it on Sunday.
What was it like having a week with Trevor in terms of looking through a game plan, and did you see his focus elevate this week?
Very much so. I thought he was extremely locked in. He did a ton of extra work on his own this week. He's been studying the crap out of the plays so he can spit them out as quickly as possible. I thought he's had a really nice week of preparation. I thought he had a really nice day throwing the ball today as well. You could just see some of the confidence and zip and feeling more and more comfortable with the plan, and hopefully we can get him off to a good start, get the ball spitting out of his hands, keep it moving, and get those guys some touches early.
I don't know if we've asked you this, but did you guys talk to Colorado at all about Travis in terms of how they operated, and did you implement anything that they told you to do?
Yeah, we talked to them a little bit
Sure.
about it, and just kind of got their rhythm and routine, and just were able to play off of that. So we did speak to them just to kind of get what they were trying to do, and then obviously he was able to communicate a lot of that as well. So when we sat down and got with him after the draft, we really kind of ironed out some of the initial thoughts that weekend in person, and then we were able to be kind of flexible from there.
Couple more.
Liam, got a couple of oars on the depth chart here. What's your plans at running back and at linebacker for this week, or have you decided?
Yeah, those guys are they're all gonna play. They're all gonna play and get a bunch of reps, and that's the way I believe in terms of, especially at the running back position. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the one trick pony. I like to have guys that can be fresh, stay fresh, give you different things, and I think that's a little bit more challenging on the defense. And then both linebackers are going to get a ton of reps and a ton of play. Both guys do some good things for us, and both do some things differently than the other guys. So all four of those guys are going to play a ton.
Have you been pleased with the communication with the starting offensive line this week?
I have. I know a bunch of them got together on Tuesday on the off day with Trevor and watched a bunch of tape together and communicated their thoughts together in terms of whether it's the run game or the blitz protections. They've, every time in practice where they're not up, they're usually overdoing a protection walkthrough or a run game walkthrough. And, a lot of guys are able to kind of hang out when they're not in. And the O-line never has that opportunity. So I've been pleased with their effort. I've been pleased with their commitment to trying to get this thing right. Obviously, we got to go perform on Sunday and prove it, but I have been pleased with their level of commitment and preparation.
Cole Van Lanen has kind of earned the trust of a couple of different coaching staffs over the years. What is it about him that just kind of gives you that confidence at that swing spot?
Yeah, Cole, I think it's usually when an O-lineman isn't getting noticed all that much, they're doing a good job. And I don't want to say the definition of that, but that kind of happens with him where it's just he does his job, and he does his job above average. So you're like, man, this guy can step in and be able to help us at multiple positions. And so, I've always been pleased with his commitment to the guys and to the plan, the way he kind of goes about his business. I've been pleased with. He's a good dude to be around. So, it was a shame that he was playing. So he was really playing well when he got banged up. But it'll be great to get him back into the fold and get him some quality reps with those guys.
Coach, thank you so much.
Yeah,